Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mike Rosehart Show. We are live from the ocean. There's the ocean. There's the pool. We're live right on New Smyrna Beach in just about 45 minutes south of Daytona Beach. So we're in New Smyrna Beach, Florida. Love this spot. Picked this hotel up for 60 bucks. Of course, regular price like 400. But you know how I roll. The frugality, the cheapness. It runs in the veins. Unfortunately, it's hard. It's sometimes too hard to curb old habits. We're gonna try to do this in the dark out here. I wanted to have the backdrop, but I was running late from dinner, so hopefully we have some light for the next half hour or so to get a stream going. The wind is just ripping. We have like probably 10-foot swales behind me there, and so sorry if you're hearing the waves crashing and all of that. It's drowning out. The wind is drowning out my voice. Sorry about that. Okay, so we're here in this is a beautiful Marriott hotel. Beautiful Marriott hotel, I love it. Right on the beach, oceanfront, and we got it for a super sweet deal, 60-something bucks, but probably regular 400 a night. Again, like the frugality it's not worth my time to hunt for deals, but I just can't help myself. So anyway, what are we doing? We're in Florida looking at hotels. Tomorrow I have a whole bunch of units lined up. I'm really excited for it. I'm going to be investing in a couple of 100 units, so we'll see what kind of works. A lot of this stuff is like dependent on what terms we can come to. So can we get seller financing at 3% interest? Can we find good terms that work for everyone? Because the bank rates right now don't work, and a lot of the deals don't work because rates are so high. So just joining the stream. We're live here on the patio. It would be quiet, but of course we have the most intense windstorm and the intense wave swale hitting up the coast here in New Smyrna Beach, Florida. Any questions, put them down below. Happy to answer them. It's been a great trip. One thing about frugality, I was mentioning the cheap hotel. That I'm actually really happy that I'm able to find those kinds of deals. But what I'm not so happy about is sometimes the frugality can cost you. And so what was good to get me to the first million, first 2 million, even 3 million, you can be really frugal. But soon you have to start being frugal with your time and the opportunity cost of that. So I'll give you an example. I'm down here. We sold one of our projects off. It was supposed to be an Airbnb project. We decided to sell it off. It became a flip. We did okay. We made between 60 and 90 grand probably, depending if you include all of the miscellaneous things like furniture, which we moved to another of our properties. And the frugal me is like, I can't let this furniture go. The non-frugal me would be like, just let the seller have it, or let the buyer have it, sorry, whatever. But I'm out here with a truck and a guy moving 8 loads of furniture into our other garage at other properties. So I'm moving king beds, taking them apart, taking TVs off walls, doing all that to try to save and preserve that wealth. And so that's something that mentally I'm struggling with. And I don't know, it's a challenge because on one hand, it's like, hey, there's 6, 7, 8 grand in furniture here. It feels bad to throw it away. On the other hand, it's like, I don't know. On the other hand, I'm stuck with the challenge of what is my time worth? Literally the 30 hours I spent probably moving that furniture, the labor associated with that, I could just outsource that and did another task, find another building under contract and assign it to someone else, make a $200,000 wholesale fee. In multifamily, you find a good building undervalued 10, 20%, that could be $1 million undervalued. Someone will give you a $200,000 fee just for the piece of paper, just to sell the right to that contract. Or let's talk about high value coaching calls. I can make $900 an hour. To be honest with you, coaching calls are actually a bad use of my time. I can make way more in real estate per hour than coaching calls. Coaching calls I try not to do them because when I work for small amounts of dollars per hour, it limits and pigeonholes my ability to make it a billionaire. And the only way that I'm ever gonna make it to billionaire, or at least even 250 million, 500 million, is gonna have to be a paradigm shift in the way that I'm thinking, in the way that I'm operating. I need businesses that are going to be 10x. And you don't get there doing hourly, coaching calls and, saving on furniture. And I don't know. We're gonna chalk it up to the last time I'm gonna do this. Look at that, a huge white Florida bird just flew by there. You guys want to go for a walk? I don't know if we'll have Wi-Fi, but give you a little view. There's the pool, there's the ocean. We're right on the strip here. It's a beautiful hotel. Super fancy, 20-foot ceilings in there. Again, 60-something bucks, pretty sweet. But yeah, lots of deals in the market right now. We just picked up a 23 unit apartment building / motel in Sarnia, and I'm super excited for it. It was in the paper. We were number one on the radio. Everyone's talking about, revitalizing the corner. It's right near the beach. It's one of the nicest properties, nicest pieces of land. It had the worst deferred maintenance. Like, no one had taken care of it in so long. There were bums and crack addicts living there. I took it vacant possession. We're going to turn that building around. We're going to turn it from a $2 million building into a $5 million building. Super excited about that project. We're working on a couple other projects here in Florida too. I'm really close on a couple other projects in Ontario, but I'm easing into it, guys. I'm not going all out. I'm waiting for the deals to come to me. Wait for the numbers to work. Okay. Is that a Super 6 motel? No. Sorry, guys. You think spring 2025 will be a rip? I do. I think 2025 is going to be a good year for real estate. I really do. I think it's going to be a hard winter. A really hard winter. For people who are not cash flow positive, sell those properties off, get cash flow positive. If you're going to speculate, I mean, we're getting close to the time where it's better just to hold than it is to dump. We're kind of past the point of no return. Nice background. Thanks. Appreciate it. Do you see any deals on the MLS? Yeah, of course. Someone says I'm starting to creep lately, but I haven't had luck getting a vendor to take a VTB. So just keep trying. Like on 30 or 40 deals, you'll get one that'll vendor finance. So it's a lot of work. It's a full-time job to find good deals. And that's why the guys who do that, who have teams that are just constantly locking stuff up, when they wholesale you something for 100 grand and it's worth 400 grand more, you pay it. You're happy to pay a wholesale fee. So connect with people. We're wholesalers. Connect with the commercial real estate space. A lot of the deals go off market. Probably 80% of multifamily stuff, like a good large majority of the multifamily stuff goes off market, meaning it never hits MLS, no one hears about it, back room to back room, realtor to realtor, private fund to commercial broker. A lot of these brokers aren't even realtor licensed. Some of them are just, assigning stuff they get under contract. That's where you find the big buildings. Someone knows their aunt, or their uncle Joe, who has a $10 million building, it's mom and pop, and they can work out financing. And oftentimes, when the realtors aren't involved, you get a better deal, I find. So, yeah. Sorry about the waves being really loud. Probably all I can hear is crashing waves. So I don't know if you guys can hear the ocean there crashing or not. But hi, Mike. How is your investing with multifamily? It's good. It's going to be a long journey. I'm not going to find the 250 units that I'm after and the 1,000 units that I'm after overnight. It's going to take time. I have to keep hunting, and it's not going to be instant right away. It's going to take potentially 2-3 years to find all the deals that I want and to get them all put together. They take a long time to turn around. Like, to turn around a building takes a year or two when it's a big building, right? So it's like a flip, but a long flip where you're basically cranking down the expenses, making the property way more efficient, and then cranking up the rents and the revenue. When you do that, you take a spread of very small net operating income and you make it huge, and that net operating income justifies the value of the building. So the bigger you can make that, the more the building's worth. It's just different in a lot of ways from residential real estate, where the value is like what Aunt Sally's house sold down the street. It's just different. They don't value based on income approach. In multifamily, they do. So, yeah. Keep looking, Port City. You'll find stuff. It's out there. You can negotiate right now in ways that you can't in the other areas. So, Kaylee says, where will interest rates go in Canada 2024, 2025? I think it's most likely that what you're going to find is it gets a little bit worse. We're getting close to the top, but it gets maybe one more rate hike, and then they hold for a lot of next year into the spring. There's a good chance they start lowering rates. One, it's an election year, and the U.S. decides the world economy, right? So do you think Biden is going to put pressure on Jerome Powell and say, hey, I'd really like for you to, bring rates down? Now, they say they're independent, right? The Fed is supposed to be independent. So will Biden's influence and push in an election year to bring rates down to help people survive, will that bring rates down? Probably. But could he say no? We're going to keep things high because inflation's still higher than we'd like it to be? Yeah, that could totally happen. And is it possible too that, at the same time we might see the Fed might be between a rock and a hard place. The challenge being that inflation is not all the way down. Oil's high. We're at war, potentially in both the Middle East and Russia, Ukraine, right? all the tensions that have been going on, bonds dropping. What's crazy is on Friday, from Friday to now, the NASDAQ QQQ was 352, now it's in the 370s. So we've seen a 6% rip up in the index, which is insane. Like, in times of war, in the long term, it's good for the economy, but short term, there should be turbulence. With oil spiking, we should see inflation being, Friday we had the hottest jobs report. Jobs report came in double. Now, is that a sign that people are getting 2 jobs to survive? Maybe. Is that because, well, a lot of people are saying, hey, the market's hot, and so the market can handle these rates. The economy's strong. And so the market rallied on that news, and there's possibility, I think, that, the sun's setting. I wish I could show you guys. I wish this iPhone 14 could capture just how beautiful that is. Wow. But, lost my train of thought. Okay, talking about rates. So I think we'll probably break something next year, and rates will have to come down. We need a banking crisis, we need a real estate crisis, we need a small business crisis. People can't sustain these rates. The government can't afford to spend something like half of their current spending budget just on interest on the debt that they have, trying to service the debt they have. It's not sustainable. Tax rates would have to rise dramatically. They can't rise that quickly in such a short period of time that we will have large deficits as a result. So the question is, when do rates come down? Not if. They will come down. We cannot stay 8% for long. The rates will come down. And so that makes me bullish on real estate, because when rates do eventually come down, that's super bullish for real estate. It's just going to drive prices way up, bring a lot of buyers back in the market. There's a lot of printed money too, right? And you got to remember that Biden may print more. They may have some more stimulus handouts. And if they do that, that's going to print money and put it into the economy in a way that, we haven't seen in a couple of years. We've been missing that quantitative easing. There's been a lot of tightening lately, and so, yeah. Have you tried mailing campaigns? Yeah, that kind of stuff kind of works. The thing that's been most fruitful to me, like I've done door-to-door, I've done mailers, and I get like 1 in 1,000. It's really low probability of success and a lot of time wasted. In my opinion, the best thing you can do is just call every agent who deals in volume and go for lunch, have a call with them, get them on, have you on their radar. So when something comes, hey, you're a cash buyer ready to go, you make it easy for them. If you make it easy for them, they will always call you first. So convince them of why they should call you first, why their life would be easy, why they're gonna get a guaranteed paycheck. So you're easy to work with, you have cash, you have partners, show that, flex that, and they will call you with opportunity. So that's the secret right there, is just, find that opportunity and go hard on it. Speaking of opportunity, if you're sitting here with a GIC at 5 or 6%, reach out to me. I am looking at hundreds of units right now. I could give you super safe loan to values, secured mortgages at, really safe loan to values, probably like 10, 11% interest. Hit me up if you want to make that kind of return, because I've got buildings that I would love to bring partners on. I don't know if I want to give up equity. I'd rather raise it as debt. That means that I guarantee it. If the project isn't succeeding in the first year and the recession goes on longer, I come out of pocket, I make those payments, right? It's personally guaranteed, business guaranteed, and then you take the building and all my equity in the building if I didn't make the payment. So super safe. If you're safe in the loan to value, and you're very careful about how much you lend, loan to value, it is really likely that I think the risk adjusted returns in private lending space right now, and by the way, something that most people won't do, that I'll do, is structure as a capital gain for you. Because when you're lending, normally interest income tax is 55%, but there are some really cool structures where you can make balloon payments that treat it like an equity deal, where the payout isn't guaranteed. It is guaranteed, but for the CRA, the government's purposes, it's not guaranteed, and it's a capital gain. And so now you're paying 24% tax instead of 55% tax. That's huge, because GIC, if you have your money in a GIC or a treasury bill, T-bill, you're paying 55% tax. You're keeping 45%. If you're making 5%, your real return's 2%. I can give you 11%, your real return being 8 after tax, using a capital gain structure, right? 8 or 9%. So that's huge. So if you have like $500,000, you want to park it, and the Rosehart Capital Fund, hit me up. Rosehart Capital is expanding. I'm gonna pick up 1,000 units. I can't do it alone. I could probably get like 250 units alone, but I can't get to 1,000 by myself. So I will need help at some point. So the ask is there. It's not yet, but soon. I don't have the buildings yet, but soon. I'm working on a lot of deals, and I will probably need some help. So if you want to get some juicy returns, this is the opportunity you've been waiting for. It's coming this winter. Hey Joe, how you doing? Just wanted to say I find you to be the best YouTube real estate guy in the space compared to me, Kevin, Graham, Stefan, etc. Hey, that means a lot. I can't even take that award. Like, you're handing it to me, and I don't feel right to take that. Kevin, sorry, friend of mine, way back. He is a savage. That guy works 18 hours a day. He works harder than I do. I mean, he's next level hard. So, mad respect to what he can do with his YouTube and his media channel. It is, I can't even compete with that. But I try to be different. I'm a different flavor. He's a different type of potato chip than I am. I'm not trying to be the same potato chip he is. I am who I am. I'm enjoying this life, and it's a blessed one. And I bring you guys along for the journey, and every week I share my reflections, what I'm learning and what I'm struggling with, and sharing those opportunities with you guys. So that's what this is about. I'm trying to create this community, right? And so someday we'll have our Bahamas resort that we all own together. We'll have our Florida resort. They're 50 miles apart between Bahamas and Florida. We'll have landing strips in both, so we'll have flights going back and forth. It's an 18-minute flight from the Bahamas to Florida. So we got first world amenities and a tax-free nation. We're completely free in the Bahamas. And then we go to Canada for a few months a year too. Why not? Have some Canadian resorts too. I love Canada. It's a beautiful country. It's under poor management, but just such a beautiful opportunity. But yeah, anyway, I gotta keep this stream short. We're losing daylight. We are losing daylight out here. What are your thoughts on Alex Hormozy? I love Alex. I've been watching him since he started on Instagram. He actually responded back to one of my DMs, which was cool. He's just such a savage too. That guy's next level work ethic is, you gotta remember, I have a family. So one of my businesses or mentee projects are my 3 kids. And so that is something that is near and dear to my heart. And some other people out there who are just savages in the business space don't value that the same way I do. That's okay. But it does mean that my priorities aren't the same. Is it swell, not swale? I don't know. I've heard swale before. Huge swales, man. Got the surfer vibe. All right, next question. Scrolling down here. Why drive and not fly? So I bring my family with me, and I could fly. It's just, I like the independence of being able to leave when I want, do what I want. With a flight, it's a lot pain in the ass to move your flights back and forth. It used to be a COVID thing. It's not anymore. So there's no reason not to fly, I suppose. Other than I have to fly into an airport. I once flew into actual Orlando, and I was waiting for a car rental. I had it all set up on the app, and I get there and it was closed. And I'm like, no, my flight got delayed by an hour, and the car rental was closed. So I had to walk a mile to another car rental place. It was like $400 for some shitty car. I had to return in 2 days, and I had to drive it back to Orlando. I just didn't like, with a car rental, I don't know, when I bring my own van down here, I have full control. I can come and go as I please. I can bring my family. And also, I guess it's just a lot cheaper. Oh no, that's not true. If you factor in I've replaced my tires in a year on my car. I put 50,000 kilometers on my van, so for sure it's not cheaper on the wear and tear. But I bring my 3 kids with me, bring my wife. I have my mom with us, and so there's struggles with coordinating 6 plane tickets to come for a business trip. It's actually probably works out a little bit cheaper, but I don't know. Once you factor in my tires, my brakes, the wear and tear of my van, my van's probably lost $10,000 in value in the last year just driving it. So I don't know if it's cheaper, but it is definitely easier for me. Like, I decide I'm gonna leave at 8 o'clock in the morning, 8 p.m. I'm not feeling well, we stop at a hotel. I like having full control, and it is a bitch of a drive. Like, it's 20 hours plus. I get it. We stop over, we try not to do it straight. We do 2 days of driving, but it's an experience. And along the way, I try to just chalk it up to like being an experience. It's definitely not as good of an experience. I guess it's business first class, but I wouldn't fly first class anyway. Too cheap for that right now. My net worth isn't high enough. I truly believe to fly business first class, you should have like 100 mil. And I just don't have that. So it's not a small enough percentage of my net worth that it's a rounding error, unfortunately. 6 tickets in first class would be, I don't know, not cheap. Joseph says, the kind of cozy small community you have as opposed to bigger channels feels more genuine and personal. Hey, thanks. Appreciate that. So a lot of people do say that, and I appreciate that. And it's one of the things I love too, is that we have this tight-knit community, and I want to have some in-person masterminds of some sort. And if we can make these make it into like a vacation where we come down to Florida, go down to the Bahamas, and it's a tax write-off where I can sell you a ticket to come that is literally at the cost of putting it on. Like, we go rent a hotel, or we We go rent a sick Airbnb mansion or something. We all come together. That would be really cool. That was my vision for this channel. So I do want to do that in some capacity. And then it's also a write-off for me too. It's like, if I can get 55% of my tax credits back, that's like half off my vacation. So that's sweet. That's part of what this channel allows for, right? It's part of the vision, right? Whoa. All right. Como says, hey Mike, are you looking into the psychedelic industry? I haven't looked into that at all, to be honest. I have no experience with psychedelics. I know the Canadian companies are striving to go in the US, and a few top companies are in phase 2. I have no experience with psychedelics at all. Packing his bags, he says. I am looking too for the right. I have a couple of you guys that have reached out who are like just hungry to be a COO and to run, or general manager to run some of these big hotel projects. If that's you, hit me up. It's coming soon. We're gonna be needing to find more manpower. Would you ever do an interview with people like Dave Ramsey or Kevin O'Leary? That would be interesting and entertaining. Yeah. Would they ever do an interview with me is the question. I don't know. I would have to spend like, if I started pumping and hired someone full time and just dedicated to growing the Rosehart media channel, which is something I've thought about, and offered like educational courses and things, that would blow up the brand. We'd be at 1 million or 2 million subscribers so quickly. All the guys who do it well have full-time staff. They're helping push for content, all of that, the back end and stuff. I don't have that right now. I haven't decided to invest in it. If I did, that would land me some bigger interviews for sure. But currently, I treat this like a hobby, and I should treat it like a business, but it's a hobby. How much would we need to invest with you or partner with you? So typically, I'm looking for $250,000 to $500,000 minimum. I prefer to work with like people at $1 million. I don't want a lot of partners. I want a few partners. It's just easier for me. Like if I had, my ideal scenario would be like 3 guys that each had like $3 million, and then I put in like the difference, and we have 12 to 15 million together in a pool, and we go buy, we lever that up, we get some better financing, we go buy 50 or 60 million in properties, we burr that, take that capital, buy 50, 60 million more properties, do it again, buy 50 million more in properties. I recognize that like one guy probably doesn't have enough wealth to do that. I don't have enough wealth to get to $1 billion, right? I need people to join me on that. So if you have high net worth and you want to get involved in it, hit me up. If you've got some capital, let's chat. It's definitely something that I'm cognizant of that I need to be doing more, is like making the ask. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap this stream up. We're losing daylight here. I could go inside the hotel for a minute. Let me see, where's my hotel room card? Look at those huge waves. Wow. Woo, that wind. That wind, oh, hitting the room key. I gotta hit it to get in. Guys, look at that wind-blown hair. That wind-blown sea hair. All right, we're in the lobby, so there's a lot of people here. I'll probably wrap this stream up in a sec. I'll sit down for a minute. Why not? Let's do it. Yeah, it's a beautiful hotel. It's in New Smyrna Beach, right on the water there. Bum 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 bum. Gary says, hi Mike, what's the strategy with your hotel motel projects that you're taking down? How are you going to jack up value? So as an example, we're working on one deal right now where there's a real potential with vendor financing to carry the project cash flow positive for 2-3 years. You renovate all the rooms, you increase the amenity. Like really the business plan is like, these things are underperforming assets. So I look for hotels that are poorly run, that have shitty reviews, they're not renovated nicely. We go and we make them nice. We renovate them properly. We can, I think, like quietly, my play would be like buy hotels, put kitchenettes in them, and make them into apartments. Because a lot of these motels and hotels are selling at rates that like, and some of them are sitting vacant. One of them I'm looking at is 55% vacant. So it's like, man, there's a rental demand in this place where people can't even find housing. And they'll pay $2,000 a month for an apartment, a small apartment. So if you take out the 2 queen beds, put in a beautiful sectional that pulls out, put in a nice king bed, you have a nice apartment, you make a little kitchenette, now you get a full apartment you can charge. A lot of these people will pay $400 or $500 a week for a furnished place. They can't afford first and last. They're working class, making 60, 80 grand a year, but they're just not good with their money. There's a huge segment of people that want that. And so some of the projects that I'm looking at right now are doing that. Like taking it from a building that's trying to get $60 a night and sitting 50% vacant, all of a sudden getting like guaranteed $70 a night every single night 100% occupancy because we're renting it on a weekly basis. So the occupancy is not 100%, but like call it like 90, 95%. And you put in amenities like simple things like, if it doesn't have a pool, you put a pool in, but ideally you buy one with a pool. You put barbecue areas in, you put games tables in, you put putt golf in, you put like, a hangout area, a little tiki bar, a gym. If there's land there, you build a little shed, not a shed, but like a 10 by 20 building, and you put a gym in it, as an example. All these amenities, they jack the rent ups, and it doesn't cost much. If I buy a 100-unit building, I spend $30,000 on amenities. All of a sudden, I go from having this building had no amenities. Now it has a pool, a hot tub, a golf area. It has a gym. It had nothing before, and now it has a business conference center. You put all that stuff in, and all of a sudden now it goes from a 1-star to like a 3.5 star, and your rent roll goes up dramatically. Your vacancy rate drops, dramatically. And so little pivots as part of your business plan make big differences. And as a cost per unit on 100 units, 10 grand's nothing, right? You're spending like a couple $100 a unit. It doesn't even matter. If you amortize that out over the life of the building, you can drive revenue way up without driving expenses up. Ideally, you drive expenses down. So if there's old AC units, you change that stuff out. You improve the insulation quality. Low flow faucets is key for water bills. There's lots of ways to drive expenses down. Management oftentimes is bloated. Oftentimes owners throwing a lot of crap in the bottom line that you can pull back out. They're running their own personal expenses through it. And so you just drive that net operating income through the roof. When you do that, if you bought a building at a 12 cap, and the market for a nice building will sell at a 6 cap, you have a double on your hands. I have only some buildings that are selling for $5-6 million, worth $12 million. So I can do one of these projects and I can make $6 million. So it's a no-brainer. Why am I doing small projects when I have the proficiency? I've done hundreds and hundreds of units of renovations. I've renovated hundreds of bathrooms. I've already done it all. I've managed the crews. We had a 22-bedroom triplex that we turned over. It's like the same thing as a 22-unit hotel. There's no difference. And the 22-unit hotel is not that different from a 50-unit. It gets more efficient the more you have. The cost per unit drives down. You can negotiate on all of your trades costs, all of your supply costs, everything. So I'm super excited about the opportunity in that space specifically. I just think there's just so much opportunity. So really excited for it. So I think there's a huge play in the conversion space too for not only motels that are, especially with Airbnb being down like 30-40%, it's being crushed right now. So there's huge opportunity in the space. Just dropped my tripod. There's huge opportunity in the space to, improve everything from being a short-term rental to being a medium-term rental. And there's just so much extra margin there. And what's interesting in Florida specifically is like multifam is trading at almost double the cap rate as motel space. So if you can convert a property to multifamily, all of a sudden your building's worth twice as much for the same amount of income. So even if you didn't change the income at all, your building's worth twice as much by repositioning how the building's viewed to the marketplace. Financing's cheaper as a large multi. I like that you can get a building vacant too, which is fantastic in the motel hotel space. You don't have to fight with all the tenants. You start fresh, clean slate, cancel the current stays, and you're good to go. There's no fighting in court. It's just easier. I like the model a lot better. So for me, it's where I'm going to focus my time. And it's just, I'm not in a huge rush. We're going to slowly work at it until we get it done how we want to get it done. All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate everyone for joining us tonight in the live stream. You guys know where to find me, rosehartcapital@gmail.com, at Mike Rosehart on Instagram and Facebook, and of course, on this channel. All right, we'll see you guys next week. Remember, the secret to unlocking wealth through you, 3 levers and control your financial future: spend less, earn more, and maximize returns and difference. Bye, guys.